feedback for the presenters, but keep your mics muted. So thank you very much. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Anthony Luscre, Kilo 8 Zulu Tango, and tonight's topic is State QSO Party Challenge. And this is a very timely presentation. We did one last year also, but a couple of new changes and a couple little wrinkles. But the nice thing is the state QSO parties will start in the first weekend of February. So this is very much time for that. So this slideshow is available at tiny.cc/stqspc. We will also have a PDF of this posted on the RATPAC site, along with on the YouTube site with the video, so you can get it there. Or you can shoot the QR code, and I'll have this up at the end. You're welcome to shoot that on the last slide. Before we jump in tonight, we're going to be talking about state QSO parties, which are contests. And if you're new to contesting, I have an introduction slideshow and an introduction recording, an introduction to amateur radio contesting. If you're an ARRL member, you can take the online course that I wrote for the ARRL at this link right here. There's also some other resources for people that are new to contesting, including the book by K1DG, Doug Grant, Amateur Radio Contesting for Beginners, ND3N's website, and a couple other videos out there that you might be interested in watching. So what is a state QSO party? It's a radio contest sponsored by states, provinces, or regions. In state stations, the stations in the state holding the party, they activate counties, which are used as the exchange and score multipliers. So when it's Ohio, I'm in Summit County, so that would be my exchange, and you would get a multiplier for working each of the 88 Ohio counties during the Ohio QSO party. Out-of-state stations typically give their state as the exchange. We'll talk about some other things that might be included in this exchange a little bit later. So what is the State QSO Party Challenge? It's a means of recognizing amateur radio operators for each of their active participations in the multiple state QSO parties throughout the season, starting in February and going to October. It's not a single contest. Instead, it's a challenge overlay of each of the existing state QSO parties. So you can work as many or all the parties if you'd like, and all your score counts to the State QSO Party Challenge, and I'll tell you how to get that recognized as a later slide here. The purpose of the State QSO Party Challenge group is to be a catalyst to take the State QSO Party contesting to the next level. And we've been doing this for how many years now? I forget. It's 5 years or 4? 4 years. Thank you, Dave. Dave is the master of ceremonies of the State QSO Party Challenge Committee, and he's waving his fingers with 4 there. It only seems longer than that. So some of the goals of the challenge are to increase the enjoyment of the State QSO Party participants, to assist the State QSO Party contest organizers in providing quality contests, and to promote increased State QSO Party contesting activity, and as a sideline, hoping to get increases in the number of State QSO parties. And we've actually had a couple increases since we started doing this. There are actually 2 challenges, though. There's the State QSO Party Challenge, which is the original challenge. It's based on the total number of points earned. And the way you calculate the points is the number of parties you operate in, that you make at least 2 contacts in, times the total number of contacts you make in those parties. That's what determines your State QSO Party Challenge score. We'll talk about how you get it into the information system later. The second challenge, though, is something called Worked All State QSO Parties, WAQP. This is based on the number of parties in which you work a minimum of 2 QSOs. So the goal here is to work as many of the parties as possible. Of course, that's the goal in the first one also, but the second one is designed specifically to acknowledge the fact that possibly you worked all 47 or most of the 47 during the year. Participants work any or all of the 47 state, province, and regional QSO parties throughout the year, according to each party's individual rules. And because the party's rules are set by the sponsor of each party, some of the parties are a little bit different, some of the rules are different. So I recommend that for each party, you check the sponsor's website for the rules for that particular contest. After you're done operating, the participants then enter the results for each contest via the 38.30 com website. It's the contest scores rumor site. I'll click on it. By the way, anytime you see a link like this, it'll take you out to that resource. So the 3830scores.com site is where you upload your information. I'll show you how to do that a little bit later. But again, anytime you see this or this type of symbol, that means it's a link you can click on for more information. The SQP challenge automatically aggregates the results for each participant's SQP entries throughout the year. So each time you upload to 3830, it will automatically upload your total to the State QSO Party leaderboard. Participants in SQP score is based on the number of QSOs times the number of parties again, but you have to have a minimum of 2 QSOs for a work party for it to be count. Participants can qualify for one of 5 different award levels: diamond, platinum, gold, silver, or bronze. In the other challenge, the Worked All States QSO Party Challenge, there's also different levels, which I'll show you in a moment here. But we're going to focus on the SQP challenge first of all. This is an example of a screenshot of a leaderboard from, I think, 2 years ago. You can see Axel here, KI6RRN, was leading at this time, and he had worked 46 of in this particular year, we had 46 contests. He had worked all 46 of the contest. So his score was calculated by taking the total number of QSOs he made in those 46 parties, multiplying it by 46. That gives the cumulative score, and that meant he was at the diamond level. And this all shows up automatically. You don't need to do anything other than put your information into 3830. Now, that doesn't enter you in the contest. For you to enter each of the state QSO parties, you still need to submit your log via the instructions on each site's website. So some of them have places where you can upload them. Some of them you need to send a link via email with your log. But in either case, you want to do 2 things: upload your score to the 3830 for the challenge, but also make sure you send in your logs to each of the contest sponsors. The State QSO Party Challenge leaderboard has things listed in multiple ways. It has it listed by total score. It also has it listed by the number of contest worked. Now, unfortunately, when I go there right now, it's going to say no data because it's waiting for the first score of the year to come in, which will be the Vermont QSO Party coming up first weekend in February. Now, the other award challenge that WAQP Worked All State QSO Parties, this is an example of my award that I got for the ultimate. I worked 45 of the 45 state QSO parties in 2021, and you can get this suitable for framing certificate. You also can order a trophy for your wall. There are 4 different categories in the WAQP: ultimate, which means you've worked 100% of the contest for that year; elite, 90 through 99%; expert; and aficionado. There's a write-up of the results of the 2023 party here. You can click on the link and it'll take you out to the challenge website, and it'll give you the PDF of the information, and you can read about all the results from last year. So if you're one of the people from last year, you can see all your results are, but you could, if you didn't participate last year, you can see this interesting article on the activities and the scores in the group. This is a link to the state QSO parties, and you can see each of them here. You can click on the link to take you out to the website. We have the date and time listed. Some we're still waiting for the final date and time to be listed, so those are not available yet, but we will update those whenever they are available. So when you click on each one, it'll take you out to an individual website, and this is definitely the Vermont QSO Party site because I would recognize it anywhere with its bright yellow background and pink box. They've been using this format for years, so it's very recognizable, and it's typically the first party of the year, and this will be the 66th version. This tells you information on how to operate in the party. It also tells you if you want to operate FT8, FT4 in this particular party. Some parties have FT8, FT4, some do not. Each party has its own rules. Some have RITI, some do not. Some have VHF and UHF included, some do not. But the one thing that's in common about all of these parties is there are two classes of operators. There's the in-state operators and the out-of-state operators. And that's what distinguishes these parties from a couple other ones that really don't have that same type of same coverage. Here's another list. You can click on the links, but this is just in alphabetical order. You'll notice that not all 50 states have a QSO party. But the interesting thing is all 50 states, except for all 49 of the 50 states are covered in one of the 47 events, because some of the states that aren't listed here separately take part in either the 7th Call District QSO party or the New England QSO party or the Canadian Prairies Party. So these are regional parties that have more than one state or province in them. The 7th Call District has all the call areas, the 7th call areas, with the exception of the one state that's not represented here. And you might have guessed it already, it is Alaska. So there is no state QSO party for Alaska, and Alaska is not represented in any of the parties. Other than that, all the 50 states, all 49 other states are represented. And as far as Canadian provinces go, we have the British Columbia contest, we have the Ontario contest, we have the Quebec contest, and then we have the Canadian Prairies contest, which includes 4, 5s, and 6s. So we cover all of the Canadian provinces from Quebec west. Unfortunately, we don't currently have a maritime or other provinces covered. Maybe in the future. Something new for 2024 is the SQP Club Challenge. This is a competition that runs concurrently with the SQP Challenge. What happens is we will compile the scores of individual entries on 3830, which have a club name attached to them. So when you upload your information to 3830, if you choose a club, we will then tally up the scores for those clubs for everyone who qualifies for the challenge. So for the scores to qualify, they must meet the criteria for qualifying for the challenge. So they can't just participate in one QSO party, and they can't just have one QSO in any of the in the parties, in one party or two parties. So they need to qualify they need to qualify for the challenge. The rules and details of this will be posted on the website in the next few weeks. Now, that's the challenge, but I sort of skipped over the whole idea of what's involved with the state QSO parties. And without the state QSO parties, there is no challenge. So let's take a step back and look at the individual state QSO parties, some information on them, and what you need to do to participate in them. The challenge is very easy. If you participate in the state QSO parties and you just upload your information to 3830, you will automatically be entered in the challenge. But you need to know the information to get in each of the state QSO parties. So the first thing is, why would you even participate in these state QSO parties? Well, some people participate for the awards. They're great for things besides winning the contest. They're great for completing worked all states. As you see, there are 49 of the 50 states available that you can work. They're even a better opportunity to work counties within those states, because many times some of the counties in these states are only on during the state QSO party of their state. Also, if you take part in county hunting via the USA County Award or the County Challenge Award top list, which is more of a European type of thing. And by the way, there are people from outside the US that do participate in the challenge and in some of the state QSO parties. We even had one of our top 10 scorers from Europe in the past. Many parties are small enough that new contesters even have a chance to win a category. And a few years ago, I was shocked to win a trophy from the Maryland party, which I did not think I did that well in, but it's a rather small party, and that was good enough for me to get a trophy. I, of course, got my trophy also for the state of Ohio QSO party for 2 of the previous 3 years. Another reason to be in the state QSO parties is when it's your state that's up to bat, you become a desired multiplier. It's a chance to be in demand like a rare DX station when you're operating in your state's QSO party, especially if you live in or travel to a rare county in your state. It's a great activity for in-state local radio clubs to encourage on-air activities by members. And I know there's a number of people that only take part in one state QSO party each year, and that's their local state. We're hoping to encourage you to think about doing more than just your local state this year. State QSO parties are great for rover, mobile, and portable operators. Now, the rules are different in different parties, so check to see what the difference is. Some have rovers, some have mobile, some have portable categories, some just have one category for all three of them. So check to see what the situation is in the particular party that you're going to be competing in for details on that. Excuse me, I just got my foot tangled in a cable here. Okay. Rovers and portable operators can activate one or more counties during the contest. Now, a rover typically is a station in a vehicle that moves around and operates in multiple counties. A mobile in some of these is the same thing, but they're able to operate while they're in motion. Portable stations set up in a portable location, although they may change more than once during the contest. It's up to them. They may just choose one county to set up in, or they could move around and operate different counties if they wanted to. Many of the contests have separate awards for these categories, and they're great for those that have home antenna restrictions or that just want to get a little fresh air. Now, here's a presentation from K8MR on operating mobile in contest, and Jim loves to operate in mobile in contest. I know he operates quite often in the Florida QSO party mobile and the South Carolina and North Carolina parties. So I will let you watch this video on your own. I forget exactly how long it is, but you can watch the video. It's almost an hour long. This was presented, I think, at the Orlando Hamcation. One of the reasons operating the state QSO parties, well, they're friendly contests. It's an atmosphere of friendly, laid-back competition. It's a chance to connect with old friends around the state. They make for a great club competition, both between club members and between local clubs. So you can set up your own competition in addition to the contest itself and the challenge. They're a great activity for new contesters because of the more laid-back atmosphere than many of the higher pressure contests. So it's not quite as fast and furious as the CQ Worldwide or even the ARRL sweepstakes. There's both CW and single sideband in all of the contests, and some also have digital options. They're a shorter duration contest, anywhere from 8 hours to the maximum of 2 days. So they're not as long as some of the other contests. And there's many opportunities throughout the year. As I said, they start in February and they run until October. Each party is unique. Each party can have different rules and activities. I know one party has bingo that you score by working different letters of suffix in call signs. Some have bonus stations. Some have state-related fun prizes, and I have my 1 ounce maple syrup here on my shelf from winning the Vermont QSO party one year. And I don't know if Washington still has the smoked salmon or not for the salmon run, but because I haven't won that one yet. Now, another reason to take part in state QSO parties is double dipping. Now, not George's double chip dipping. I'm talking about a state QSO party plus POTA operations. So it's a great way to, if it's a state that's having this activity, go out and set up and operate POTA. And the nice thing is, if you don't realize it, when you're operating POTA and SOTA, you're not required to give the POTA exchange, so it won't tie up extra time. But if you've been working in a park, when you submit your log to POTA, everyone will get park credit. So you might want to think about double dipping with POTA, SOTA, or YOTA. Think YOTA is youth on their activity, and think about having some youth involved in your operation, whether it's in-state or whether you're operating some of the out-of-state parties. It's also great for county hunting. So how can the State QSO Party Challenge help parties? We hope to increase the number of participants in the parties, increase the participation's QSO numbers in the state parties, encourage increased county activations and mobile operators, and encourage the development of new parties for areas not included. And when we first started the challenge, we saw an immediate jump in the score. Some places were shocked by the number of increases. So getting started, what do you need to do to actually take part in the parties, and take part in the challenge. Well, the first thing I suggest you do is read the State QSO Party Challenge rules, and you can click on the link to get to those. There's also a FAQ on the frequently asked questions section on the website. And then the next thing you need to do is you need to find the QSO parties, dates, and times. And I showed you that one chart, but another thing I suggest is the WA7 BNM contest calendar. Now, I showed a little earlier this, if you might have been here, showing what's the contest in the next 8 days. Well, there's no state QSO parties in the next 8 days. But if you click on the top here, you'll see that Bruce has given a special tab at the top for the state QSO parties, and he updates this throughout the year. Some of them are not updated yet. He has it updated through March. So you'll get you started through the first 2 months, and this will update over time here. But as I said, Vermont, Minnesota, and British Columbia are the first weekend in February. Then we have South Carolina and North Carolina in back-to-back Carolina dueling weekend of the 24th and 25th. Then in March, we have Nova Scotia, which is not one of the parties in the contest. And the reason for that is this is primarily an 80-meter contest and doesn't have the ability for people to work it nationwide. So that's why it's not included in the challenge. There's also another party, which we'll mention a little bit later, that's not included in the challenge because it, again, doesn't have separate rules for in-state and out-of-state operators. So it really doesn't work the same way. So the next party valid for the challenge is the Oklahoma party, then Idaho. You can work Dan, hopefully. The Wisconsin party, Virginia party. And you have to wait until August to work me for the Ohio party, although I'll be on during these other ones as an out-of-state participant. So that's the WA7 BNM contest calendar. The next thing you need to do is get ready for the party. Plan your operation. Now, if it's out of state, it's going to be really easy because you get no bonus by going to a specific county. You get no bonus for anything else. So you might as well use your home station or maybe go out and operate POTA if you want to. That's still a way to double dip. But if you're in state, you need to make a couple decisions. Do you want to operate from your fixed home station? Do you want to operate fixed from a portable location, maybe activating a single or multiple counties, maybe that rare county in your state? Or do you want to go mobile or rover and operate multiple counties during the contest? Now, very important, if you're going to be a mobile, rover, or portable location, some of the QSO parties allow you to do multiple counties at a time by planning yourself on a county line or the intersection of 3 or 4 counties. Other ones do not allow multiple counties in the exchange. So check the rules for each individual contest before you spend hours finding that prime location where 4 counties all come together and you can activate 4 at a time. Make sure that the state that you're going to be operating, the party you're going to be operating in, supports that rule. Also, some of the states have multipliers based on once per band. Other ones have them once per contest. Some have once per mode. Some have once per contest. So it depends on the contest how important multipliers are going to be in that individual contest for your total score. But that doesn't affect the challenge. Get ready for the state QSO party. Know your exchange, install your software. I've listed 2 of the softwares, so I'll have a few more later, but you can also go to my website. These are probably the 2 most commonly used contesting software now. N1MM is a free software. N3FJP is a paid software, but you can buy individual states or you can buy a complete package, which is the better deal that has all the state parties in it. Scott does a really good job with those. So both of these will work just fine. There's other logging software. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. When it comes time to operating, you need to find the stations. Now, because these are smaller contests, they're not going to fill the band up like the CQ Worldwide. So if you're used to getting on during the CQ Worldwide phone in October and start at the bottom of the phone band and find it filled all the way to the top, it's not going to be the same with most state QSO parties. Now, there's a couple of really large ones like the California party that may rival this, or the Texas party, or the New York party, which have a big turnout. But for most cases, it's going to be a smaller group. So what most of the parties do is most of the parties will suggest frequencies. They publish suggested frequencies or frequency ranges. They might say, for example, 25 kilohertz up from the bottom of the general class band, or they might give you a frequency range, or they might give you one frequency to sort of focus around. Stations typically identify that they're participating in the contest with their CQ. CQ, this is the Ohio QSO Party, Kilo 8 Zulu Tango. And that'll help you figure it out. You can also get an idea if they're, by listening to their exchange, if they're giving an exchange of a county name or county abbreviation, that's a good sign that they're in a state QSO party. The thing is, if there's multiple parties going on, it might be hard to figure out which party they're in just based on the county, because there are a lot of Franklins, Springfields, and Madisons and other counties that are common across the U.S. Most parties also allow all stations use spotting. So the whole idea of assisted versus non-assisted in most of the state QSO parties is a moot point. There are still a few that do have separate rules for assisted versus non-assisted. And most stations, most state parties also allow self spotting. So check that before you do it. But some of them do. And some parties even have their own spotting networks that they run during the contest. I think South Carolina and North Carolina both have that. There might be some other ones out there. You can also use your favorite DX cluster, reverse beacon network, or other things to find stations. Now, making contacts. If you're not that familiar with contesting, there's two main ways to make a contact. The first one is by calling CQ, which is also known as running. You call CQ and you work person. Then as soon as you're done with them, you call another person. Linda, could you please get that? It's Natalie. Sorry about the interruption. So there's two main ways to make a contest contact. The first one is calling CQ, also known as running. And the second one is by answering a CQ, also known as search and pounce or hunt and pounce. Doesn't matter which one you choose to do. Most time your ham starting out, especially if it's not their state's party, will do it by answering CQs. Once they get more confident, they'll start calling CQ. And if it's your own state QSO party, I really suggest, if possible, calling CQ so people can find you and work you. But there's still going to be a chance to work other people in your state during the party. So you're probably going to end up doing some searching and pouncing also. Making the contacts. The typical exchange, as I mentioned earlier, when you're in state, is the county. On phone, you usually say the county name. Sometimes they'll also say the county abbreviation. Most counties, for the logging software purposes, have a 3 or 4 character abbreviation. So, for example, with 88 counties in Ohio, 3 characters wouldn't work out, so we use 4. So I'm in Sierra Uniform Mike, Summit County. So there are charts of the information on each of the websites of the parties that'll tell you what the counties, the listing of the counties and the abbreviations. If you're out of state, it's basically your state, province, or country that you're in. Some parties have additional exchange information. Some ask you to give a name. It doesn't have to be your real name, but it has to be a name that's consistent through the contest. I use my initials, AL, so most people think that my name is Al, but it's actually Anthony, but that's too long, and I don't like Tony. Some also use a serial number. First station you work would be number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, etc. Some also have you give a listing of the category. For example, the Maryland party, in addition to your county or your state, you need to also give what category you're in. Some require a signal report, some don't. So the best way to figure this out is, again, look at the rules for each party you're going to enter and listen to what everyone else is doing, and you'll quickly catch on as to the way to do it. Number 8, some tips for newer contesters. Make sure you read and understand the contest rules. Know your exchange before the contest. And I want to add one thing to that. If you're working as the in-state, in other words, it's your state QSO party, in addition to knowing your county, please make sure you know your grid square just in case people ask. And if you live in a state and you're not doing POTA and you're not participating in the state QSO party challenge, in the state QSO party, and it's your state's time, make sure you know what county you're in addition to your park. It's very helpful for people that want to work you. Contest QSOs should be kept streamlined. Send only what is required in the exchange. Avoid excessive information. Repeat only requested information. There's no reason to give everything twice or 3 times unless someone asks you to repeat it again. Not all contesters will be on the suggested frequencies. Tune above and below, especially on single sideband, to find people that might be slightly off frequency, or out of the frequency range. Some other tips for newer contesters: know the CQ CQing station's call sign before responding. So if you're hunting and pouncing, don't ask the station for their call after you work them. Listen and find it out if they're calling CQ. If you're calling CQ, give your call sign frequently enough so people don't have to ask you for it. If you're a rover, every time you move into a new county, in your CQ, periodically let the stations know that you're in a new county so they can work you again, because most parties, that's the only way you can work a station a second time on the same band or same mode is by working them in a different county. Now, of course, if it's not your state QSO party, it doesn't matter what county you're in. So don't try that trick of telling people, oh, I moved to a different county in my own state when you're not the state party. Keep track of the stations you have already worked. The only time you can work again is on a new band or a new mode, or if they move to a new county. Some other tips for newer contesters: spotting information. DX Cluster, W6, County Hunting Network, etc. are great places to find stations. Some QSO parties have their own spotting pages I mentioned earlier. Many rovers and mobiles use a special technique. People that are really used to doing this, they'll quite often operate near or on the same frequency when they change bands. So for example, station W1ABC may be operating on 35.38. When they move to 40 meters, they might operate at 70.38. And when they move to 20, they might try and operate as close as possible to 14.38 so that people can track them when they change bands. This, of course, won't be exact based on QRM activity, and the frequency may not be available when they switch. Now, after the contest, you need to do two things. Submit your log to the sponsor. Follow their rules on how to submit it, whether it's via a website or whether it's an email link to send them a link. Send your login. Post your score to the 3830 site. This is the part that you need to do if you want to take part in the challenge. Please do both of these. Very, very important. I can't stress enough. You need to do both of these so you actually enter the contest and enter the challenge. When you do use the 3830 site, there's a couple things you need to note. You need to make sure you post to the right party. So let's say you just work the Iowa QSO party. Make sure you're posting to the Iowa QSO party, not the Indiana QSO party or not the Illinois QSO party or something else. If there are multiple parties in the weekend, make sure you're submitting the right scores for the right party, and you'll be required to do this individually. Even though some of the software might support multiple contests, like N1MM supports the 4 contests to take place on the first weekend in May, the 7th call district, the New England QSO party, the Delaware party, and the Indiana party. You need to break your score out for each of these when you put it on 3830 so that we can track your score for the state QSO party challenge. And there's special software on the state QSO party challenge site that will allow you to do this. So you can take your log, that combined log of 4 different parties, and split it out and send us the right scores for each one. Once you upload the 3830, the information is automatically added to the state QSO party challenge score, and you don't need to do anything else to have that work. Now, if you're taking part in the club contest challenge, make sure you also choose a club when you submit your score. For more information on the 3830 site, I have a whole presentation on that. We also have a RATPAC video that you can watch on that in addition to my slideshow. So this tells you all about 3830. And by the way, just quickly, if you've never heard of 3830, the name comes from the frequency that was commonly used after contest for contesters to gather on 75 meters and tell each other how they did in the contest. This is now done online through the 3830 website. And when you go to the 3830 website, you will choose the contest that you're going to enter, click on it, and upload the information. Now, when you choose a contest, you're going to see, for example, that when I choose this particular contest, some of my information is pre-filled out. In that slideshow presentation, I explain how you can set this preferences so that you won't have to always put in your email, your call sign, your club. That all can go in automatically ahead of time, and your preferences will be saved each time you use 3830. But you will need to put in your total scores, your multipliers, your total number of QSOs, your multipliers, and your score. It's optional if you want to break it down by band. We suggest you do, but you don't absolutely have to. But you do need to make sure that you put in your total number of Qs, your multis, and your total score, so that that information gets passed on to us. Everything in red has to be filled out. Your class, your power level, and it will vary from contest to contest. Once you have everything in place, click the Submit Score button, and your score will show up on the 3830 site. And what it looks like, let me just show you some of my previous ones. I'll bring up one of the state QSO parties from last year. Maybe. There we go. So if I look at this, I can find the Idaho QSO party here. I can click on that, and you'll see all the results from everyone there. I can show mine, KGT. There I am. If I click on the link here, it'll actually show my submission. So I made a grand total of 3 QSOs in the Idaho party last year, but that qualifies that party for inclusion in the state QSO party challenge. Because remember what I said the limit is? You have to make at least 2. I made 3. Now, the leaderboard, which I mentioned earlier and showed you the example of, is going to be blank right now. Come on, reload. You can get to the leaderboard by going to the website, clicking on leaderboard, and it'll bring it up and show you that information. It does take a little while to load because it loads the spreadsheet on the fly with the most up-to-date scores. When you upload on the 3830, usually within 5 minutes, it'll show up on the leaderboard or less. And this will all be filled in. It'll look like this. We'll click to a state that's already gone. I mean, a year that's already passed.
Anthony, can I butt in real quick?
Yeah, go right ahead.
I just want to say thanks to Anthony for making this possible for us. Anthony put this leaderboard, the real-time leaderboard, together for us. We've been using it for 4 years now, and it's been absolutely a dream for us because when we first started this, we were going to do this manually. And when we started it, we didn't know how we were going to do data collection or anything like that. So we did a lot in a little bit of time, but this system has really saved us a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of headaches. So thanks, Anthony. I just want to.
Well, you're very welcome, Dave. And just a warning to any of you, if you create spreadsheets and people see them, sometimes they force you onto committees and they make you do all sorts of other work. But it's been my pleasure to do it. And this is the same way I got involved in the RATPAC, I think. So yeah, it looks like I did a lot of work, but really, Google Sheets made this very easy. There's actually only one formula that does all of this. One simple formula does everything, and then after that, it's just a matter of sorting things out. So
I didn't need to know that.
Yeah, I know, but I gave away my secret.
Yeah. We'll talk later.
Yeah, that's going to really reduce my pay, I'm sure. Now, step number 11 is you can increase your score by continuing to work party after party and working more QSOs in each party. That's the best way to get yourself up into the top of this leaderboard, is by working many, many parties. And I closed the window, didn't I, with it? Yep, I closed that one. That'll get you up to the top of the list. I mentioned software before. I mentioned N1MM, N3FJP. There's also an interesting piece of software by N05W. This is a piece of software that's designed for state QSO parties, and it really is also designed with the rover and mobile station in mind because it actually interfaces with GPS. I've not used this personally, but I have a link here. It's called CQX, and you can go there. There's also another free piece of software, DXLogNet, that supports almost all, if not all, the state QSO parties. And I listed one of the Macintosh software here because the other software listed here are all Windows based. You can also click on the logos to get out to the software. These are some other tools that people have created. Multi-Chaser is an add-on that you can work with N1MM that displays contest multis on a map as you work them, so it fills in the counties. There's also county maps available at the U.S. Census site. Now, this has nothing to do with amateur radio, but because we're county hunting, it's nice to have county maps. So if you pick a state, any state, let's pick Vermont being its first, it will give you a nice little state map. Now, the only complaint I have is they don't have the contest county abbreviations on them, of course, because they're designed for the layman who doesn't care about the contest abbreviations because they're not thinking about amateur radio. But these are really nice. For some counties, you can get them very easily. On other counties, they're turned sideways, so you're going to need to rotate them, either print them out or use your rotating tool in your PDF viewer to be able to do that. Other tools out here, this is from N05W, also county overlay maps. These do have the counties shown over top of a Google map. And when you click on any one, it'll show you what county you're, I'm sorry, when you click on the counties on the left here, it'll highlight that county on the map. Then this site has nothing to do with amateur radio at all. This is a interactive county map, but it's designed for county hunting, but in a different way than we do it. This is a program where you visit the county in person and you get credit for being in the county. So it's a map designed for people who do county hunting by visiting the counties, but you can click on any of these counties, get more information on it. You can zoom in or out and see the county borders and how they match up with the rest of the map. So if you're trying to pick out a location, you can use these county maps to get a good idea of, for example, where counties come together if you want to find a multiple county area. So like right here would be a 2-county area. Here'd be another 2-county area. Here's another one down here. So you can use this to see counties, and you can see counties all over the United States with this. You can also search for a county. I thought that was going to work, but it didn't. It brought me to another place I didn't know of. But so this is called Mob Rule, and what it is, it's a program. I'll go off to there. This is their website. This is a site where people go that want to work counties by visiting them. We do it the easy way by using the radio. I also have more information on my website on operating and contesting, maps and charts, operating propagation studies, spotting, etc., software. For more information on the State QSO Party Challenge, visit the State QSO Party Challenge website. Join the Groups IO mailing list, QSO Party at Groups IO, and follow them on the State QSO Party page on Facebook. Dave, WN4AFP, who's on Zoom with us tonight, is the team leader. Stan, K4SBZ, is the challenge data administrator. Mark, WB9CIF, Jeff Hartley, and myself are the other committee members. And notice we have a blank here because we're looking for another committee member. So if someone's interested, contact Dave. And again, if you have any questions, comments, or complaints, contact Dave.
Oh, no.
And here's his email address right here.
Thank you.
And we'd also like to thank Bruce Horn, WA7BNM. He runs the contest calendar. He runs the 3830 site, and he also does a ton of work behind the scenes for groups like ours, the CWT, the SST, and all these other groups that use his 3830 site to keep track of their contest. And Bruce does a ton of work in the background to support all these different groups. Also, we are sponsored partially by ICOM. They provide some money towards trophies and certificates. Again, this slideshow is available at tiny.cc/STQSPC. You can shoot the QR code. I'll leave it up there for a while, and I'll be happy to take questions and comments. I see we have the chat with some things in it. I'll try and get that up here and look at that first. In the meantime, if you have a question, either raise your hand so we can see. We got more than one screen tonight, so it might be a little bit trouble. So I mentioned, so Barry's out there. I didn't realize you were there, Barry. Thank you. So we don't we don't know why Alaska doesn't want to play. So anyone that's out there from Alaska that has any influence in Alaska, tell them to either come up with a party or join the 7th Call District Party. Now, I have an idea what might be the issue, and that is the counties are a little bit different the way they do them in Alaska. And that's also something that the group in the Prairie contest had to solve because they're a little bit different also. So the Canadian Prairies contest, the 4, 5s, and 6s, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and what am I forgetting? Manitoba had to come up with a little bit different because their county system's a little bit different. And of course, there aren't counties everywhere; there are parishes in Louisiana, so there is differences.
Yeah.
Um,
And Anthony, don't forget the independent counties in Virginia, which are
yes,
just totally.
yes, that always confuses me too.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Entry categories are determined by each party's rules. Yes. Usually high power, low power, and most of them also have QRP. Actually, I think they all have QRP now because that's what I always enter. Some of them have rover, some of them have mobile, some have other overlays. Some even have youth contest overlays. Let's see here. QSO Party Hub. Oh, this is a great place for spotting for QSO parties. Go to State QSO Party website, and then you can click on the link for the State QSO Party Hub. I don't think I have it open right now. I don't have it open right now. Make sure you watch the log submission dates. The time span varies considerably. Some are just a few days, and some are as much as a month. So make sure you follow that. Also, please, 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 please put your scores in 3830 within the week after the contest, and that way your results will update. So you won't be calling and saying, "Why have my score has been updated? And everyone else has more contests than me." Also, after a while, it gets hard to track things. So please try and get your scores on 3830 within the month at least, but preferably within the first week after the contest. Oh, pay increase. That's great. Most state Q parties have websites. Yes, they do, where they list abbreviations. There is no RATPAC presentation on Mac logging software. I did one on Windows logging software, but I do mention a few Mac software programs in that, although it's not specifically for that. I do mention a few of those. So if you are looking for Mac software, there is information in the RATPAC presentation, but not specifically. Okay, I'll go ahead and take questions from the group. Raise your hand or get our attention in some way.
Gene has been out there patiently waiting.
Yeah, go right ahead, Gene.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, great presentation. I've been trying to write down all the information you've been putting out. And I will be going back to RATPAC's IO Group's page to look over these slides again. That being said, are there mode type limitations or restrictions such as WinLink, EchoLink?
Yes.
What about satellite contacts?
I don't know that any of the clubs have satellite contacts. I know the clubs do not allow repeater contacts or contacts via that use internet as part of the linking process. Now there may be some that do, but from what I know of, no, that's not the case. So EchoLink and WinLink would not be applicable. Store and forward systems would not be applicable. I don't know. Some states might accept satellite contacts. I don't know that for sure. I do know that some of the states do VHF and UHF. Not many of them, but some of the states have VHF and UHF available. And I know that some of them even allow FM to be used. But most of the time, it's a focus on single sideband and CW. And one of the things that you'll learn, and the state QSO party is actually a great place to learn about propagation because you'll find out real quick which bands are supporting propagation from point A, your location, to the state you want to work. So, for example, when I'm working the West Virginia QSO party, and they hang out on the high bands in the beginning of the day, I don't have a chance at all to get them. It's very, very difficult from where I'm at in Ohio. I'm just far enough away that ground wave doesn't work. And on 20 meters and up, it's really hard to make a contact with West Virginia from my house. So I'll plan my operating around a little bit later in the day when they go on 40, which is sometimes still too long. 80, which is definitely where I want to be. And then some contests have 160, some do not. So double check that because you're going to want a plan when you're out of state, figuring out when the best time is to contact that state. So, for example, with British Columbia, it's going to be great on the high bands. It's far away. Same thing with Hawaii. It's far away. So I'll be able to use those high bands, but I probably won't be able to be using 80 meters with them for very many contacts. So it's a great tool to learn about propagation. And sometimes the thing that surprises you is just how the band is too long. For example, when Vermont comes up next week, 20 meters will be possible, maybe sometime, but 40 and 80 will be much better for me. Some parties favor certain types of operation because they do things a little bit differently. Some parties favor both in-state and out-state contacts by the in-state members. Other ones, it's pretty much the state working only people outside of the state. So there is differences in the parties. Some of the ones that are 2 days are to accommodate the large amount of area to cover and the number of people there, like Florida being a 2-day contest is very important because if you want to be a rover and cover many counties in Florida, you're going to need time to do it. Whereas if you're in Delaware, to cover all 3 counties, you can do it on a bicycle and not have much problem doing it. But so yeah, the states vary considerably. The counties sizes vary. The number of people in the states vary. Some of these states have very little activity, whereas other ones have a tremendous amount of activity. So one of the things that's very important, if you want to get that worked all parties award, plan very carefully. Make sure you mark all those weekends on your calendar so you don't miss them because you only get one weekend a year to try and do it. Some are 1 day, some are 2 days. Make sure you know that and figure out when your best chances are going to be to get them propagation wise. So you need to plan. One time I was trying to work all the parties and I was on my way to California on Amtrak. And it was the day of this California QSO party. The problem was I wasn't going to be off the train in California until after the party was over. So I planned when the party would be starting, where I'd be most likely to be able to do it. And I was able in Glen Canyon, Colorado, to get off the train with my KX2 and my AX1 whip and work 4 stations in California so I could qualify, get my 2 I needed. As it turned out, we had a slight delay in Sacramento due to one of the passengers becoming ill on the platform. And I was able to work 5 more contacts, but now I was working not as an out-of-state, but as an in-state operator in the state QSO party. So I have a picture of that somewhere and I could grab that, but I don't know. I'll grab it and bring it up on the screen here.
While you're doing that,
Yes.
Al, come on. And
Yeah. Hi. First of all, great presentation. Thank you. And the whole state QSO party has gotten me very interested in these things. And it's a lot of fun. And thanks for all the effort. I have a few questions. I may plan to I'm in New Jersey. And I may plan to operate in Vermont. Now,
Yes.
generally I use, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Don't mind me
Generally,
flipping through these.
oh yeah. While you're doing that. Yeah. Generally I use K2AL/1. And of course I'll be K2AL for all the other state QSO parties. Will you still recognize K2, or should I just use K2AL in Vermont? Will it screw up my entry as, Kilo to Alpha Lima in all?
Either way is fine, but you definitely want to keep telling people that you're in Vermont, even if you're using the portable one, so they know that, because otherwise they won't realize that you're in Vermont, even with the portable one.
Okay. But I think that's good advice actually. Thank you. But what about entering into the log, into the summary? So will it enter me as a separate station, separate entry if I do K2AL/1 only for Vermont?
I'm not positive on that because I don't know how Bruce handles that.
Yeah.
Dave, do you know by any chance?
That's a great question, Al. I do not have the answer either.
Maybe
you stumped us really quick there.
I've never had that question in 4 years. But it's a good one.
Yeah, see, I like to keep. I usually do if I operate up there. I like to keep my logs separate. Even LOTW has got a K2AL stroke one set up. I mean, I could do K2AL and just say I'm in
Yeah,
Vermont.
what I would do is on the 3830 site, I would put your score just without the /1.
Yeah,
You can,
okay.
but on your log and everything, you can still do /1 for your entry into the Vermont party because we don't use anything from the state party log
Yeah,
to pull your information. So what I would do to make sure that you're going to be combined together is on the 3830, just leave the /1 off there.
okay.
You don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
I'm guessing that
Thanks.
Bruce probably uses some magic to remove that anyway, but just to be on the safe side.
Anthony,
Yeah.
I've never seen a slash on any of the
No.
state QSO party calls. So apparently he has a way of removing that. And
Yeah,
I would also definitely go with the /1 so that people know you're, definitely in, in one land and hopefully, in Vermont with the county. Because
Okay.
this the K2AL, they may not hear anything else, so.
Yeah. All right. I'll do if I go up there, I'll do that, and then just like you said, enter it as K2AL, right? And yeah.
And that brings up a great point there. If you live near a state that's having a party, consider going there because they can always use more operators, and especially mobile operators that operate multi counties. We've had a number of people go into some of the sparsely populated states like North Dakota. 2 years ago, there was 2 people that were mobile from out of state that traveled all around North Dakota, giving out about 35 counties, which was just a fabulous boon for people that collect counties. So yeah, consider it's a great vacation thing to do. Go to a state and.
Okay. Yeah, it is. Before I forget, I had one other.
Yes.
Maybe it's is there the state QSO party challenge? I think you're getting a lot of clout and equity. Is there any way? I guess it's impossible for all the state QSO parties to somehow standardize the exchange. It would.
No, we really don't want to try and take that because it's their flavor that they do.
Okay.
Now, I as I say that, I'm guilty of actually influencing one party to do something, and that's I asked one party to drop the serial number because I didn't think the serial number was very welcoming to people who just casually wanted to work the party. And that was my own state, and they did eventually drop the serial number from it. By the way, this is me on the train, portable 0 in Glen Canyon.
Wow, that's great.
Nice.
Okay, I'm going to drop my shares here so I can slide this in front of me. Okay.
Nice. And I guess the other thing I wish that more sideband stations would give their county. I know it's individual operators phonetically.
Yes.
There's a lot that don't, and it's then you have to ask, I don't know whether you could put something out that says, please, an operator's guide or something. I guess not.
The thing that's a great place. The great place to do these things is to join the group's IO mailing list because it's not the committee. It's for the people that are taking part and to join us on the Facebook page. Those are 2 good places to spread that information. Also spread it to your local club members. If you're a member, especially if you're a member of a contesting club, let them know about, best practices. And I think one of the problems that we run into a lot of times, I know on single sideband I run into, is people who live in the state assume that the way they pronounce the county. And you're also doing with a regional accent in some cases. So, that county name is just totally baffling to people that are from outside the area because it's a rather strange name to begin with. We have a county in the northeast corner of Ohio. And a lot of people, if they look at it, they'll think it's Astabula, but it's pronounced Astabula. We have like 4 tongue twisters in Ohio. Now, the one good thing in Ohio is we have all the counties do not require a change in spelling in the abbreviations because sometimes you'll see that it's not the first 4 characters of the county name that's the abbreviation. It might be like the first 2 and then the last 3, the last 1 or something like that. Fortunately, in Ohio, all four letter abbreviations are the first 4 letters of the county name. But you'll see in a lot of places, if they have counties that start with U or North or something like that, then it starts problems because they're of course the same. So they got to start abbreviating them differently. But yeah, I think especially if you're operating from a state, make sure that if you're living in a county that has a strange pronunciation, strange spelling, make sure you give it phonetically, at least periodically.
And
Thank you.
The abbreviation periodically.
Yes.
That's the thing we miss on phone.
Yeah, and sometimes it's important to give the abbreviation phonetically too. People don't realize that how important it is to do that also.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. It's great.
You're welcome.
Presentation, and thanks for all the effort. It's been a lot of fun.
Other questions?
Okay, we're wrapping it up here. Been a great presentation. Anybody else got any questions? Put them in chat or raise your hands, please.
Oh, someone was asking about multi-state contest. Yes, when you do the New England QSO party, there's some combinations there's some counties that are the same. So what they do, they've chosen their abbreviations with 5 characters, and they start off their abbreviation with the state. If I remember right, let me see if I remember this correctly. I'm pretty sure that they're the ones that start with the state first for the first 2 letters, and then the county abbreviation. But is it the 7th party that does it that way? I can't remember which one does it that way. Maybe the 7th party that does it that way.
The 7th party does it first, and then the NEQP does it the back.
Yeah, they do the state at the end of it. So you end up with WASHME, wash me. I always think that always struck me as a strange abbreviation. Please wash me. It's like they write it on the back of their car. It'd be great for a mobile operation. Wash me.
Okay, more hands, more questions in the chat, please, folks.
Any questions you have about, if you're just new to contesting too, if you have just basic conquesting questions, I'll try and answer those also.
Yeah,
I got a quick question. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead first, Ron, and then Al. Go ahead, Ron.
Okay, Anthony, what's the criteria for getting the WAQP award? Because I got the aficionado 2 years ago. Last year, I worked 41 QSO parties, but I didn't get an award.
Well, okay, that is on that award, you have to apply for it. It isn't automatic. You apply for it and you choose because we have the different levels. We let people choose if they want to apply. And then the other thing, we have it arranged so that you actually go through the trophy producer directly, and he verifies your scores so that you don't actually have to apply through us. You go to that information on the website. Dave, do you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, I mean, you apply for the award through us, and then we'll provide you with, which I need to do right now. We're a day or 2 behind on that, but we do provide the plaque. Anyone interested in a plaque, will provide them the information on where to get one instead of trying to, do the pass-through thing. That's what we've done before, and that got crazy. So we'll give you the information where we would get it. You can order it for the same price we would. So it's fairly low. But we do handle that a little bit different. It's not automatic based upon your WAQP, your 3830 entry. It is a separate award. So, and we wanted to take it kind of to the next level, not just claim scores either. So.
Yeah, the plaque is nice and big, and I got to keep fading out on me here. Yeah,
that's scary, Anthony.
I know that's scary, but this is the plaque. It looks like the picture that I had in the slideshow, but I got it upside down too.
and we changed it just a little bit since that version for mailing purposes and a few other things. So, but anyway, same type of design, and we do have a couple of folks on here right now, K4Y, YX, and also K4MAY. Congratulations on continuing to get those for a few years now, Dale.
Well, that was my other contribution to the committee. I found that when they had the wrong state, they had one of the state flags on double, and they had they had the wrong flag for one of the states when we first came up with the trophy. We fixed it in time.
We
won't tell you what state it was. It was wrong.
We try harder.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Al. You're
No,
still,
the previous gentleman, that's the same question I had.
okay.
I got it. Okay, thank you.
Very good. Other questions?
Other answers?
Yes. Complaints. Go to Dan or to Dave. I'll take any compliments or any suggestions.
And one other thing, guys. I love. Please get involved with the club challenge and rally your local club to get involved with this, because it is a great way. Like a smaller club, if everybody in the club is entering the contest and working multiple QSO parties, you can put up some big numbers in this and be up there with the big boys, because a lot of the big PVRC, FRC, those players aren't playing the QSO parties all the time. So this is going to be an interesting. I look forward to seeing how it turns out over the as it rolls along, because it's going to be really interesting. And also, we have a list of all the one-timers in all of the clubs. So if a club member has worked only one QSO party in last year, then we're going to be knocking on their door saying you need to get qualified for challenge, and you need to increase your club score. So anyway, it's going to be really cool, and we just rolled it out this week in the last week or so, and so we're thrilled about that. And when we do this, we feel like we're in good shape. We've got it covered, but we'll see what happens down the road. But we're excited about it. And thanks for doing the presentation, Anthony.
Oh, you're very welcome. There was a question from Corey. Can we put out an email, RATPAC.io, with the link to today's PDF? The PDF isn't generated yet. I'll generate that when we post it on the site. But if you go to the presentation, where did I put the presentation at? I might have closed it. 1 second here.
Time's up.
I hope you didn't delete it.
I put it in the chat. No, I didn't delete it. I put it in the chat back a while ago.
The link is normally posted within a day or two on the RATPAC site.
Yeah.
So.
And, by the way, I didn't show the last slide, and I can do the last slide on this page, on this one. The last slide in my presentations has a link to all my presentations. So if you go to tiny.cc/KZT, from there you can go to the State QSO Party Challenge slideshow. You can get any of the slideshows you want. And from there, you can always get the PDF.
You're not sharing.
Oh. I lost my sharing controls. 1 second here. I'm sorry.
Sharing is caring.
Okay, so the last slide in the presentation is this, tiny.cc/K8ZT-P. If you go there, you'll get a link to all my presentations. If you go into one of them, like the challenge,
How many total presentations do you have, Anthony?
I don't know how many I've had, but I'm approaching the 500 mark for the number of presentations I've done. This is an old, I gotta fix this, update this link. But yeah, we'll post it on the website. Actually, this is the good one here. No, it isn't. Well, we will post it for you, and I will fix this on my website here, because obviously I got a bad link on here. But these are all presentations I have. There's slideshows, videos, some of them repeated more than once in the listing here. Some of them I've done multiple times, so there's different videos with them. Okay. Anything else?
Well, it's been a great presentation. And we ran out of questions.
We
Okay,
run out of answers too.
yeah. All right, folks, we're going to wrap this up. It's about 11 after the hour here, and it's been a great presentation. Thanks once again, Anthony, and look for you next month. 73s, everyone.
73.
Everybody, thanks for coming.